Reyna never thought she would be the kind of woman to throw a glass. But that night, she did. Right across the kitchen. And as it shattered against the wall, something inside her shattered too. Because what scared her wasn't the outburst. It was how good it felt. The truth was that moment wasn't really about someone else. It was about a little girl who spent years swallowing her anger just to survive. And that little girl was done being quiet. How did she become so outraged all of a sudden? It was him, her boyfriend. He had said something small, something like, "You're overreacting." And Reyna, who had spent years perfecting the art of keeping it together, snapped. At first, she didn't scream. Not at first. She reacted with silence. The kind of silence that buzzes in your ears. Then her hands started shaking. Her chest got tight. Her throat closed up. She turned her back to him, walked to the sink, picked up a glass, and in one clean, instinctive move, launched it. And the silence that followed? It was louder than anything either of them said that night. Reyna's rage didn't start that night. It started years ago, in a beige living room, in a house that smelled like lemon cleaner and control. She was 6, the first time her mom snapped at her for talking back. But she wasn't yelling. She was just asking why. But that was enough for her mom. Her dad didn't raise his voice. He just sighed, loud enough to make the room cold. "Reyna, go to your room. You always make things worse." So she learned. She learned that quiet girls get praised, that polite girls get affection. That anger makes love leave the room. And slowly, she erased herself. No tantrums. No talking back. Not even when her little brother broke her favorite doll. Not even when her teacher embarrassed her in front of the whole class. Not even when her dad missed her dance recital again. Instead, she smiled. She said it was fine. And she buried the burn deep down. By the time she was 13, Reyna was a master of emotional shape-shifting. She was the friend who never got mad. The daughter who never gave trouble. The girlfriend who always forgave, even when it hurt. She dated guys who were chill, because she was afraid of the ones who had feelings. And anytime she felt herself getting angry, she turned it inward. Maybe I'm being too sensitive. Maybe I'm overthinking it. Maybe I am too much. Because if there was one thing she feared more than being hurt, it was being labeled difficult. In her 20s, Reyna prided herself on being easygoing. She let things go. She didn't start fights. She never made a scene. But behind that cool girl exterior, her body was telling a different story. Her jaw ached from clenching. Her shoulders were always tight. She had stomach pain that doctors couldn't explain. And in every relationship, a pattern repeated. She'd attract emotionally unavailable men. She'd bottle up every need, every hurt. And then boom, an explosion, a panic attack, a scream, a slammed door. After which, she'd apologize, blame herself, tell herself she should have been more chill. But deep down, she wasn't crazy. She was carrying a volcano. And every time someone told her to calm down, they were just lighting the fuse. Now, let me ask you something. Have you ever felt that kind of rage? The kind that scares you more than anyone else? The kind that makes you ask, where is this even coming from? Yeah, it's not random. It's not crazy. It's not too much. It's the sound of a wound, finally getting tired of being ignored. Reyna kept telling herself she was the problem. But the real problem was that she had never been allowed to feel anger safely. And when anger doesn't get expressed, it doesn't disappear. It waits. It waits in your jaw, in your stomach, in your shaky hands, in the way you shrink just to keep the peace. Until one day, it doesn't wait anymore. And that's what happened with Reyna's rage. It had just been waiting for permission. And that night, when the glass hit the wall, it wasn't about the man in the kitchen. It was about every time she was told to be quiet. Every time she was told she was too much. Every time she said, "It's fine," when it absolutely wasn't. She didn't need anger management. She needed to meet the version of herself that had been silenced for years. It took her 2 more relationships and 1 full-blown breakdown before Reyna finally walked into a therapist's office. And the first thing she said was, "I don't know who I am when I'm not fixing someone." Her therapist nodded slowly, then asked, "Were you ever allowed to be angry as a kid?" That one question broke her, because the answer was no. She'd been punished for crying, shamed for backtalk, ignored when she asked for more. So, she learned to swallow it, to smile through it, to tuck her rage into her ribcage and pretend it didn't exist. And now, she didn't know how to feel anger without also feeling guilt. One day, during a session, her therapist asked her to close her eyes. Picture the youngest version of you, the one who first learned to shrink. Reyna saw her immediately, a little girl in pink pajamas, standing outside her parents' bedroom, holding a broken toy and a question she was too scared to ask. And when she saw that little girl, she didn't want to silence her. She wanted to hold her, because for the first time, she realized that rage wasn't evil. It was protective. It was the sound of a child saying, "I'm scared, I'm hurt, I need help," and no one ever came. So, what about you? Were you ever punished for your honesty? Were you ever told you were dramatic, emotional, ungrateful, just for having needs? If you were, then maybe your rage isn't a flaw. Maybe it's a memory. The memory of a child who was never allowed to feel, only to perform. And now, she's trying to come back. Reyna started noticing the pattern everywhere. The way she said sorry before asking a question. The way she smiled at men who made her uncomfortable. The way she never let herself get mad until it exploded. Her friendships were full of one-sided effort. Her job drained her dry because she never set boundaries. Her body was always tired, always tight, always anxious. And the more she suppressed, the more she resented everyone around her. Not because they were bad, but because she had never learned how to say, "That hurt. I need a break." No. So, in order to heal, she started practicing. At first, the progress was tiny. She let herself cry in public. She told a friend she needed space. She stopped saying it's okay when it wasn't. And then something shifted. She got angry one day, but this time, she didn't throw a glass. She just said, "That's not okay with me." Calm, clear, unapologetic. And no one left. No one punished her. She had just made space for the part of herself that had never been allowed to speak. So, back to you. If you've ever swallowed your rage just to be accepted, if you've ever cried in private and smiled in public, then maybe it's time you asked yourself, who taught me that anger is equal to danger? Who taught me to disappear when I was upset? And who benefits when I stay quiet? Because here's the truth. Your anger isn't toxic. It's intelligent. It knows where you've been violated. It knows where your boundaries were crossed. And it's asking you to listen, not explode, not suppress. Just listen. Anger is not the enemy. Silence is. Reyna has gone through therapy. Reyna isn't rageful anymore. She's whole. Because now, she doesn't wait for permission to take up space. She doesn't whisper her needs. She doesn't disappear when things get hard. She doesn't feel guilty for feeling. And more importantly, she trusts herself now. When her chest tightens, she pays attention. When something feels off, she speaks up. When someone crosses a line, she draws it again darker. Not to push people away, but to finally let the right ones in. The ones who can hold her in all her colors, not just the polite ones. You don't have to earn your right to be angry. You don't have to hide your fire to be loved. And you are not dangerous just because you feel deeply. Your inner child didn't need silence. She needed protection. And maybe now, it's your turn to give that to her.